of men that is in these? What type of men that is in these modern times?
All of them. That's how we organize. We organize in these broad categories.
Right. Which one do you think is the most rare? The guy who's like the alpha male, right? It's the guy who
you only need one or a few of them.
I put this up several times. I don't think I have it handy, but like when I talk about how women, I mean, you can see this statistically. Earlier on, people go, well, where's your cite your sources? Well, one of those sources could be the 80-20 rule sources, which is if you look at women online and you look at women's dating habits and what it is that they're looking for on Hinge, Bumble, Tinder, all that stuff, they find 80% of men unattractive. So that 80% of men is most likely in the beta, the delta, the gamma, and the omega classes right there. Okay. Now, maybe the beta males in this terminology, in this vernacular here, maybe you could classify some of those, the top level ones, as more being in the 20% as well. However, they're not the 4.5% of men that women find attractive enough to actually initiate a conversation with on Tinder, Hinge, Bumble. So it's actually worse than you think, gentlemen. It's not just the 80-20 rule. It's like the 80% are the guys that women find unattractive. Okay. That means 20% are like, he'll do. But the guys who they really want to get with enough to actually initiate a conversation with, those guys are 4.5%. And we can definitely identify those as the alpha males because those are the guys that women will bend over backwards to get with. So we can break it down in those terms if you really want to put that, but we're talking about modern times and everything. I would argue that the 80%, at least the 80%, are in the beta, the delta, the gamma, and the omega classes right there. So those are the guys that women just simply don't want to have anything to do with. That said, I also have to point out something else that I put in my my fifth book, and that is the creep. And the creep can be, by the way, I think people think of creeps as like sort of the omega guys, and definitely they give the creep vibes, but gammas also give the creep vibes too. You could also say deltas to a limited degree could also give women the creep vibes. And I should probably do a full-on dedicated video about the creep, but just in a nutshell here, the reason why women get creeped out by guys who are especially omegas is the fact that they represent sort of a risk to life and limb. And they don't want to be around. Like for us, for instance, like you and I, Ryan, when we think of a creepy guy, we think of the guy who lives in the van down by the river, right? We think of the guy who's like the kitty toucher. We think of the guy who's like maybe he's the psycho killer kind of guy. When women think of the creep, they think of the guy who's going to remove their sexual selection, who's going to essentially rape them, right? It has the potential to do that.
Oh, I don't want to get raped.
And then, you don't either. Yeah. Okay. But as far as the creep is concerned, women's creep, detection is much more refined, or it's in a different context than it is for guys. Like there's guys I find creepy. Don't get me wrong, but like women have a different, I think, definition or a different experience of creep.
Well, I don't think they have a harmless. Like we have, he's kind of creepy, but he's harmless. I don't think they have that distinction.
Yeah, exactly. And I think for women, it's, and then the other thing is that when guys come off as creepy, it also sort of triggers the hypergamous filter. When a guy, you want to know why gammas annoy women so much is because they think that through reason and Excel spreadsheets and databases and their understanding, and they're trying to sell themselves as being you should be the one, I should be the guy that you are reproducing with. And let me give you reason A, B, C, D, E, all this other stuff like I'm this, I'm loyal, I'm this, whatever else. The fact that you have to go there and plead your case right there seems like you are trying to get past that hypergamous filter. And essentially what that is you want me to have any sex I would have with you would be non-consensual because it's not based on my feels. It's based on your selling me on the idea of having sex with you. And if that's the case, then there's no feels, there's nothing else involved in that. That's why you want to know why gammas are unsuccessful with women. It's because they think they should be successful with women. They sell themselves based on rationality and logic. And women are like, he's trying to trick me. He's not somebody I want to get with. I can't argue with him because he's actually right, because he's got all these great qualities and he would do all these. He probably actually would do all of this shit.
The heart wants what it wants.
How dare he? It's like trying to arrange a marriage. It's almost the same kind of creep level of like having your
actually, a really good one that kind of gets guys to understand it. When they're pissed off and angry, tell them to calm down. Have you ever calmed down when you were angry and somebody told you to calm down? This is exactly the same idea that telling a girl, well, you should love me if she's not feeling it.
Yeah. I should be the one you should actually be with, but she can't help the fact that she really wants to get with Brad Pitt, right?
And what will calm you down is a 6'5", 300-pound pro wrestler who's like, hey, dude, calm the fuck down.
Yeah.
Now you calm down.
Now you will. Yeah. Now it's in your face and you can't get away from it.
Yeah.
But I think too many guys, particularly guys who are in the sort of the gamma classification, don't realize that they're even coming across as creepy, because they think in the terms of like, well, men and women are just the same. And so therefore, if I'm rational, reasonable, and intelligent, she should be too, or else any girl that I should get with would be that way. And so therefore, if I make my case in enough, PowerPoint presentations, then she will want to get with me. And they don't realize, and then that's why they turn into secret kings. They feel like they're not respected and they're not appreciated, and that they don't understand why the girl naturally feels this impulse to punch him in the face. The reason for that is because he comes off as creepy because he's trying to sell himself as somebody who is going to be the perfect match for her.
Mm-hmm. So, and he could do the work. That's the worst part. Is do the work is like A/B test things. This should work. Well, did it? It didn't. Well, then maybe it shouldn't work. Right. Maybe the problem isn't that they aren't doing your part. It's that you have understood the problem incorrectly. Sometimes it's like
vibe. Yeah,
sometimes it's a bad axiom. The guy's like, I'm a good father, I'm a good Christian man, they should like me. Well, that doesn't work. So maybe it's those initial assumptions you made that are wrong. Mm-hmm. But then that implies that a guy has to check his ego. Okay, so maybe me working so hard at being the godly good father with the nice house and car thing, maybe that was a bad identity and I shouldn't have done it. And most guys can't accept that. In fact, our brains are kind of wired to it. I think that's why I make the argument that you kind of have to get zeroed out. Because until you get that fight or flight response, your brain actually doesn't have the neuroplasticity to change those core identities very much. It's until you have to interpret it as a fight or flight response. Like your world is crashing down to the point where your brain's like, all right, wipe all this shit clear. We got to figure it out. And then they finally like look at things the way they actually are, which is kind of why the red pill metaphor works the way it does, I think.
I think so too. And I also want to point this out as well. Is like when I was making the illustration of me being on the show with like, say, Hotep's there vibing with these girls speaking that language, right? I'm Mr. Wizard and nobody wants to get with the gamma.
Does anybody other than me get that reference, by the way, of Mr. Wizard?
Probably not. Like, no.
I used to love that show.
Bill Nye the Science Guy. I don't know, whatever. But I turn into the guy who like analyzes shit. You just overanalyze. You should just live it. You live your life and just go for it, kind of thing. Stick your head back in the sand. Yeah, well, I do. But that's the thing is like that's the vibe that women get from me when I'm on there with the guy like Hotep Jesus. But here's the deal: is the guys who are the gamma males who are very analytical, who never make that transition. They never really realize that they need to learn how to play the game and play with play with her and play with her. But that what they think of is they think that if they have to do that, I shouldn't have to learn game, Rolo, because they should just want me for who I am. It's like, again, it's the secret king. They feel offended that they would ever have to like be anything other than what they really are to actually impress upon that woman that, hey, I know how to play the game. I know what this is all about. I can actually vibe with you. And if you're a guy who is like very analytically minded and you're very like, say, let's just say gamma male, if that's you, the best thing you can do actually is to learn game and accept that. Most guys don't want to do that because it's like it means like trying to like pretend that they're actually something that they're not, when in fact all they're doing is learning those social skills so that they can interact and they can understand the nature of women. What did you say? Who was it who said this? Like you can either love women or you can understand women. Like you can't do both.
Oh, that's like some author, not Don Juan, but like one of those things that everybody would know. Probably Oscar Wilde. That seems like the kind of shit he would say.
But see, that's the thing is like people think that they're being disingenuous with themselves, or they get very self-conscious because they're like, okay, I know the game, I'm playing the game, and I can't drop character, but goddamn, it's working.